Today's tech news moves fast, but understanding it shouldn't be hard. That's why Snarful Solutions Group brings you Connecting the Dots, where we break down what's happening in tech and why it matters to you. Now, let's dive in with your hosts.
Imagine a computer program that can, look at the digital vault holding your life savings, find a microscopic crack that human engineers have missed for a decade, and then just automatically write the exact code needed to break that vault wide open on its very first try.
Right. And it succeeds 83% of the time.
Exactly. And we are not talking about some theoretical sci-fi scenario here. We are talking about, Tuesday morning, welcome to Connecting the Dots. I'm Alex.
And I'm Morgan.
Broadcasting live from Snarful Solutions Group right here in Sacramento, California. Every day, we take the massive wall of tech news coming at you, and we break down exactly what it means for your work, your family, and your future.
Yeah, and today is Tuesday, June 2nd, 2026, and the entire landscape of global security is fundamentally shifting beneath our feet today.
It really is. But before we jump into the heavy stuff, let's get you situated with what's happening outside and in the markets.
Right, so right now in Sacramento, it is looking like a gorgeous, sunny 93 degrees Fahrenheit today, with winds blowing from 2 to 12 miles per hour.
Perfect weather.
Yeah, it is. But if you're traveling or listening from elsewhere in the country, just be aware there are currently 248 active weather alerts nationally.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
Yeah, and 40 of those are overland, so definitely check weather.gov for your local details.
Good tip. Moving over to the financial side, on Monday, June 1st, the Dow Jones closed slightly down at 51,078.88, so that's a 0.16% drop.
Right.
While the S&P 500 closed up slightly at 7,599.996. And for the crypto watchers out there, Bitcoin took a bit of a hit today. It closed down 3.39% at 68,905.72.
Ouch. And we also have to acknowledge the sports world really quick. The SF Giants just got absolutely crushed by the Milwaukee Brewers yesterday.
Oh, man, don't remind me. 16-2.
Yeah, brutal. Chad Patrick took the win on the mound, and he frankly pitched a masterclass.
He really did.
Yeah.
Well, at least the A's and the Kings had the day off, so you get a breather on that front.
Yeah, thank goodness. So let's look closer at today's Morningstar Tech Report. We're tracking 3 major developments today that really center around this massive theme of scale and security in the AI era.
Yeah, we are basically watching artificial intelligence completely dismantle our current understanding of digital security.
Completely.
Which is forcing the tech industry to rebuild the locks on the entire internet. And doing so is requiring a level of physical infrastructure spending that, it frankly rivals the Industrial Revolution.
It's wild. The speed at which this is evolving is hitting critical velocity. And the implications, they touch everything from your local hospital's database all the way to the global banking system.
Yeah, it's huge. But before we unpack the first development, we have a quick message. Today's episode is brought to you by Strong Coffee, the premium instant coffee that tastes like a traditional brew, but is packed with 15 grams of protein, MCTs, and adaptogens like ashwagandha. Get clean, sustained energy without the jitters. Use promo code SNARFL for 20% off at strongcoffeecompany.com.
All right, so the first major move happening today comes from Anthropic, and it's regarding the rapid expansion of something called Project Glasswing.
Okay, so what is Glasswing doing now?
Well, Anthropic is taking their highly advanced, cybersecurity-focused AI model, specifically Claude Mythos Preview, and they are pushing it out to about 150 new organizations.
Wow, 150.
Yeah, across more than 15 countries.
Okay, but to really grasp the weight of this, we have to look at who is actually on that list. Because Anthropic isn't just handing this over to, random software developers.
Right, no.
They are deploying this AI into critical infrastructure. We are talking about the organizations that run power grids, municipal water supplies, national healthcare networks,
global communications cables.
Exactly. Physical hardware manufacturing.
Yeah.
You have entities like Samsung, SK Hynix, NATO, and even the Five Eyes Intelligence Alliance plugging this model directly into their systems.
And the motivation behind this massive expansion, it really comes down to what Anthropic learned during their pilot phase. Back in early April, they gave access to a much smaller cohort of roughly 50 initial partners.
And what did those 50 partners find?
Well, they turned the AI loose on their own code bases just to see what it could find. And the results were a massive wake-up call to the industry. In just a few weeks, The AI uncovered more than 10,000 high or critical severity security flaws.
10,000.
Yeah, that human security teams had completely missed.
10,000 critical flaws. And, a critical flaw usually means an attacker could take complete remote control of the system without even needing a password.
Exactly. It's terrifying.
So to put this in perspective for you, it's like giving the neighborhood watch a highly advanced AI-powered metal detector or an architectural X-ray that shows every single faulty deadbolt, hidden tunnel, and broken window in the entire city.
Right, which is an incredible tool for the good guys to have.
It is. But if this tool is so good at finding vulnerabilities, isn't it dangerous to spread it to 150 different organizations? I mean, handing out copies of this X-ray machine to that many entities drastically increases the surface area for a leak.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, eventually, a bad actor is going to get their hands on this tech, right?
Well, that tension right there is the defining problem of modern cybersecurity. Anthropic's leadership, they know the risk of proliferation.
Yeah.
But they are operating against a ticking clock.
Because of other AI models.
Exactly. The intelligence they're gathering suggests a very specific near-term horizon. Like within the next 6 to 12 months, the open market is going to be flooded with other AI models that have similar capabilities to Mythos.
And those competitors aren't going to have Anthropic's safety guardrails.
No, most of them won't. You're going to have open source models or state-sponsored models that get released without any ethical restrictions whatsoever. So when cheap, fast, and incredible, powerful, offensive AI hits the open web in less than a year, the attackers will automatically find those 10,000 broken locks anyway.
So the defenders basically need a permanent advantage right now.
Exactly. The people maintaining your bank's routing software or your local traffic grid need an asymmetric advantage today to patch those holes before the offensive AI wave even hits.
But finding 10,000 flaws is great, I guess. But it creates a massive backlog of unpatched software, which begs the question, who exactly is allowed to know about these critical vulnerabilities once the AI finds them? Let's explore this, because someone has to actually write the code to patch them.
Right, and when you uncover 10,000 critical flaws across the globe's digital infrastructure, it completely breaks the old corporate models of secrecy.
Because a bank can't just quietly fix a flaw if the broken software is made by a third-party vendor that, 100 other banks use.
Precisely. Which brings us to the massive policy shift Anthropic announced today. Previously, those 40 to 50 early partners in Project Glasswing groups like Apple, Google, Microsoft, the Pentagon, they were bound by strict non-disclosure agreements.
So they had to keep the findings secret.
Yeah. If the AI found a flaw, they could only report it back to Anthropic. It was a completely closed loop. But today, Anthropic is tearing up that playbook.
Wow.
They are now allowing these partners to share vulnerability findings outward to other security teams, industry regulators, open source maintainers, and the press under, responsible disclosure norms.
And the underlying reason they're being forced to open this up is that 83% statistic we mentioned at the very top of the deep dive. This AI model is terrifyingly good.
It really is.
Anthropic ran internal tests to see just how capable Mythos really is. They asked it to find zero-day vulnerabilities, which are flaws in major operating systems that literally no human on Earth knows about yet. And the model found thousands of them. But it didn't just point them out. It wrote working weaponized exploits to attack those flaws, and it succeeded on the first attempt 83% of the time.
And to understand why that is so terrifying, you have to look at how hacking traditionally works. I mean, a human security researcher might spend 6 months reverse engineering a piece of software, just looking for a tiny memory leak.
Yeah.
Then they spend another 3 months trying to chain that memory leak into a larger failure that grants them access.
Yeah.
But Mythos is looking at the entire architecture of the code, understanding the logic flaws instantly, and generating the attack sequence in seconds.
I mean, if an AI can compromise global financial infrastructure that quickly, keeping it a secret between a tech company and a few beta testers is just a recipe for systemic collapse.
Exactly.
Why do you think the listeners should care about the specific policy shift?
Because if the Bank of England or the European Central Bank doesn't know about a flaw in the global financial infrastructure, your family's money could literally be at risk. That's why regulators push so hard for this transparency.
And furthermore, the Pentagon is actively using Mythos right now to patch the U.S. government software. They're trying to harden the grid.
Right. Regulators realize that if a critical flaw exists in the payment routing system used by half the planet, you cannot legally or ethically keep that information locked inside a private beta test.
But wait, if they share these findings with the public and the press, aren't they basically publishing a treasure map for hackers? Like, if I'm a cybercriminal, I don't even need to build my own AI. I just read the morning news to find out exactly which database at which bank was left wide open.
Well, that is exactly why they are implementing a framework called responsible disclosure. It's a highly structured process. When a partner uses Mythos and finds a flaw, they do not just tweet the code out.
Okay, good.
Under responsible disclosure, they privately alert the company that built the software first. And they provide a specific embargo window, usually about 90 days, for that company's engineers to write, test, and push out a software update to all their users.
So the lock gets fixed in the dark before the robbers arrive?
Yes. And only after the 90 days, when the patch is available, do they publish the finding to the broader industry. And even then, they withhold the weaponizable details. They explain the nature of the vulnerability so other defenders can learn from it, but they strip out the actual exploit code that Mythos generated.
Got it. But, discovering these flaws, writing patches, and running simulations with these massive AI models, it requires an unfathomable amount of computing power.
Unfathomable.
And paying for all that computing power brings us to our final story today. Let's look closer at the sheer cost of this AI arms race, because the math happening in the background of these AI models demands physical server farms the size of small cities.
Yeah, we are seeing capital deployment on a historic level right now. Alphabet, the parent company of Google, just announced they are raising a staggering $80 billion.
$80 billion.
Yeah, through a package of equity offerings. And that money is earmarked entirely for funding their AI infrastructure and custom chips.
Let's break down the mechanics of an $80 billion capital raise, because the way they are getting this cash tells you everything you need to know about the current market.
Right.
This isn't just a bank loan. Alphabet is using 3 distinct financial vehicles. First, a $40 billion at-the-market offering.
Right.
This means Alphabet is slowly creating new shares and selling them directly into the daily trading volume of the stock market. Every time a retail investor buys Google stock, the cash goes straight to Alphabet's war chest.
And second, they have $30 billion in underwritten stock offerings. That's when massive investment banks buy huge blocks of shares to distribute to their institutional clients. And finally, there's a massive $10 billion private placement directly from Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway, which is run by Greg Abel.
Yeah.
This brings Berkshire's total stake in Alphabet to $16.6 billion.
It's just staggering. The end result of this $80 billion cash injection is that Alphabet's annual capital spending forecast has been revised to somewhere between $180 billion and $190 billion.
In a single year.
Yes. To really grasp why a tech company needs to spend almost $200 billion on infrastructure in 1 year, we have to look at the business realities here.
Yeah.
Look at their Q1 numbers for 2026.
Okay.
Google Services, which is their traditional search engine and ad business, generated $89.6 billion in revenue with a profit of $40.6 billion. It's essentially a money printer.
Right. The cost to serve you an ad is practically zero.
Exactly. But contrast that with Google Cloud, which is driving all this AI growth. In that same quarter, Google Cloud pulled in $20 billion in revenue, but only $6.6 billion in profit.
So the margins are way lower.
Vastly lower because the physical cost of running the service is so incredibly high. One of our source analysts used this brilliant analogy comparing this to Berkshire Hathaway's history with See's Candies and the BNSF Railway.
Oh, I like this one.
Yeah, think of Google's ad business like a candy store. It prints money with zero effort. The profit margins are huge. But what do you do with tens of billions of dollars in candy profits? You take that cash and you buy the incredibly expensive railroad tracks of the future.
Right, because the BNSF Railway is the exact opposite of a candy store. It is heavily industrialized. It requires constant, massive injections of capital just to lay steel tracks and buy locomotives.
Yes.
But the barrier to entry is so unimaginably high that once you own the tracks, you own the future of commerce in that region.
Alphabet is basically taking the effortless cash from their digital candy store and using it to lay the railroad tracks of the AI economy, which are these AI data centers and compute.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This contextualizes why Berkshire Hathaway is investing so heavily. AI compute is becoming the ultimate commodity. Cash is king in this race. I mean, look at what happened recently when SpaceX had excess computing power.
Oh, right.
They leased it out to Anthropic at an incredibly high premium. The market set an astronomical price for compute, and Anthropic just paid it. because supply is so constrained.
Alphabet is signaling that consumer and enterprise demand for AI is vastly exceeding supply, and they are willing to do whatever it takes to build out the physical infrastructure.
Absolutely.
Before we wrap up, a quick thanks to Old Glory, an iconic music and sports fan merch store, perfect for the techie in your life. Use promo code SNARFL for 15% off at oldglory.com.
So, to briefly summarize how all these threads connect back to your daily life, we are watching the real-time rebuilding of global cybersecurity through AI.
Yeah.
We're seeing the creation of completely new rules for how tech secrets are shared, and we're witnessing the deployment of historic amounts of money to physically power this new era of technology.
It's an incredible time to be watching this space, but it leaves me with a final provocative thought for you to ponder today. If models like Mythos can autonomously find and patch thousands of flaws, and hyperscalers like Google are spending hundreds of billions to run them, will there eventually be a future where human software engineers are no longer responsible for writing or defending code at all?
It's a crazy thought.
What happens when AI is both the ultimate hacker and the ultimate security guard?
That really is the question we have to answer over the next decade.
We're here to help at Snarful, so reach out on our website if you have any more questions.
That's a wrap on today's top stories. Remember, tech doesn't have to be complicated, and we're here to help connect the dots. If you've got questions or want to learn more, visit us at snarful.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.